Welcome to another travel product review. Today we're going to review the walking tour with boat, cave, and trolley at Niagara Falls. Now, the one thing about our reviews is they're always favorable. What I try to do is put myself in the shoes of a visitor coming across this listing on Get Your Guide and providing feedback of what they may be thinking when they see the pictures, the text, and the reviews. All right, and we also put a 10-minute timer, so we try to make sure that we do our review within that time frame. All right, let's start our countdown timer and let's get started. So the first thing I do when I look at any listing on Get Your Guide is I just look at the title, Walking Tour with Boat, Cave, and Trolley. And then the next thing I kind of do is I just glance at these pictures real quick to see if those pictures supports the title. And we're going to look at each picture. And before we get started, I look right here of how many pictures there are, and that's within the window, which I think is ideal. 13 to 15 images, and then we're going to take a look at that. Some companies go too little, some companies go too much, but that's my ideal thing. Now let's see if they cover everything that we expect to see in a video. First, this is a great view of the walking tour. It kind of shows you where you're going to be walking. You see the falls there, and I see some people on the down here to the right. It just looks incredible. So that's a great iconic shot. Now I see a boat cruise. The first thing I'm thinking is the boat tour included? So maybe that's not necessarily a picture that you want to show. You could have easily waited to take this picture and not have that boat, but I'm already thinking that maybe that boat tour is included. Now I see some people on the boat. I see some people walking up to the falls getting splashed in their rain jackets, and I see a guide walking with some instrument there. And then I see some people walking along the path. That's pretty cool. I see a guide. I see some people looking out there. I see more pictures of the falls. I see some different angles, many different angles. And I see a bunch of people. That boat looks packed. And then that's it. So everything looks like that's where I think they did a good job. When you have 13 to 15 images, you can almost put it, I know the first couple are your best shots, but then you can kind of put it and tell a story. So now, walking tour with boat. Now I got the boat. Cave, didn't see the cave, and trolley. So now, but those pictures were amazing. It covered everything. Probably the only thing I didn't see was the cave. Now the next thing I do on every listing, I just glance at the activity provider. It's 5-star Niagara Falls Tour and Events. They have 115 reviews, and it's a 4.7. So far, everything is kind of answered. This looks like a great listing. And now I'm just going to head down to about this activity. So the next thing I do, this is a 3.5 hours, skip the line ticket, live tour guide, and wheelchair accessible. I've been saying this, if it's wheelchair accessible, I would like to see one photo that shows what a wheelchair accessibility looks like. And then it's $95, and then right here, this is the most important section that I find that if you're looking at any listing on Get Your Guide, you just want to kind of fill in the blanks to see if there's any more packages that appear. So right now, we like to notice that there's 3 different price points. There's adult, children, and infant. I'm going to choose all 3. And then I'm going to look to see if there's any difference in pricing or blackout dates. It doesn't seem like there's any blackout dates. I'm going to choose that date, and I'm going to look for the availability. Now, the 2 things I notice right here is it's 3.5 hours, and then there's 2 starting times, but there's no other packages listed here. And that's where I think if there was some other packages, you would come across it, but this looks like it covers everything. Now I look and say Niagara Falls Autumn Attraction Pass with Caves of the Winds. And then that kind of answers it. Now I'm going to move on to the section with the text and look at the highlights. Admire all 3 of Niagara's famous waterfalls on this daytime walking tour. All 3. I know there's an American Falls and there's the Canadian Falls. So maybe the part of the falls that's broken off into the section, they call that a different one. See the highlights of Niagara, like the Power Arch, Tesla statue, and Luna Island. Take a trolley ride around the state park to enjoy the sights without walking. I'd like to see a picture of the trolley ride. I didn't see that. Made a Miss, Cave of Winds, Trolley through the state park, experience some of Niagara's famous attractions on this tour, explore the Cave of the Winds. I didn't see any picture of the Cave of the Winds, and I didn't see the trolley. And then I'm just going to click on here. Look, little formatting issues, not a big deal. Take a trolley around the park and stop at 5 different locations within the park. Perfect for those who want to see the park without walking the entire park on foot. I didn't see any pictures of that, really. And maybe that listing can go and add some of those pictures. Now I'm going to go to the section of what it includes. All entry fees, Made of the Miss boat ride, Cave of the Winds, tour guide, ponchos, trolley ride. So again, this listing covers so much. So they're doing a good job. Now, I want to state, as we get to the review section, I do not represent this company. I do not represent GetYourGuide. I'm simply providing feedback of what I think when I come across negative reviews. And I think that's what other people do too. They kind of think about what's going on, and they take those negative reviews and they base their decision on it. So I'm just giving you my feedback to it. So let's go ahead and pick 1 or 2 stars. Obviously the positive reviews could be there. And the first thing I notice is out of 115 reviews, there's only 2 negative reviews in the 1 to 2 star ratings. So that's really good. So now I'm going to click off of that and just choose 3 stars. Lines were huge, and a 3.5-hour tour winded up being 7 hours because we were slotted at 6:50 time for the Caves of the Wind. It was 2.5 hours after the previous stop on the tour, so we just left. That's important too. When you see the time frame up here, it'd be nice to know how much time's there. So 2.5, so 2:30 plus 3.5, that'd be from 2:30 to 6. But what I'd like to see already is how much time you spend at each location, right? So how much time is the Made of Miss boat ride? How much time is the Cave of the Winds? The tour guide, ponchos, trolley ride. So that's just some things. So you could put how much time's at each location. Okay, and now I'm going to read this. I don't feel that this tour was well represented and indicated that you would not be waiting in line, but that is what I spent the majority of my time doing. The guide also had a microphone that did not work. So unless you were standing directly next to him, you cannot hear anything he was saying. I don't feel that paying extra for any of these activities was worth it. I also have to pay $15 to park, which I thought had been included in the cost of the ticket, but was charged separately. Toward the end of the day, clearly gave up and was less interested. Okay, so maybe what it doesn't include is parking. Right there in that section, they can make a change and just add parking. And that's where I think that a lot of these listings and these companies, they upload their product and they don't look at the reviews and see how you can kind of change the information to really answer some of the questions within the reviews. We had over 60 people in our group, too many to hear the guide's story, too many to keep us all together, so all took an hour longer than expected. That's interesting. I'd like to know, what is the max capacity on any tour? I can imagine a speaker on a tour guide only goes so far. The falls is really loud at times, so I'm sure that's difficult, and that's something to consider too. Maybe a pamphlet with the information that's laminated to protect could give customers a better experience. And that's all the reviews there. So in my opinion, this looks like an excellent tour. It's well represented. I'd like to see some minor changes to it, but overall, it's a pretty good listing in my opinion. So we're going to end by saying, if you liked this video and found it helpful, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. And if you're interested in purchasing this product, we'll put a link in the video's description. Otherwise, we appreciate you checking us out. And if you visit the falls, have an awesome time.